Right, so here we go. I need to get my other right Facebook tab ready. So we'll just make sure the stream comes up, and then we can. Oh shit! That's something I haven't had a chance to do yet. Oh man.
Bleep.
Yeah. Right. Hold on 1 second. Output. No, that's input. Output. I want there. So I've got Tara's there. So if I play that, will that happen?
I'm fucking with this.
Yes, it does. Okay, so that's all right.
Oh, right.
Hey,
That
all right. We're live, I think. Have we made it? Oh, joy. Right, hold on 1 second. Oh, I've got. Yeah, there we go. Right. So so we've got just a quick sound check from you and Math. 1, 2.
Hello, can you hear us?
Yes. Tara?
Awesome.
Hello.
Yep. Cool.
Hello.
And Gaz.
Hello.
Thank you. All right. Right. Let's do it.
Sonic Talk.
Hello and welcome to Sonic Talk, episode 573, recording today live on Wednesday, the 17th of April, 2019. And we have a bit of a treat here, although I'll explain what's going on a bit later on. This is the podcast to do with music technology and synthesizers and live performance, live production, software, controllerism, all those kind of things that surround the creation and making of electronic music and other types of music too. I found, because we've been having our house done, I found a vintage Sonicstate t-shirt here. Look. I won't show it any further because it's got some stuff on it that looks very suspect, but it's because I probably used it for decorating over the years. It's nothing else than that. It feels like glue. Anyway, I want to say thank you very much to our sponsors. We've got a prize from Isotope RX7 a bit later on, and of course, Softtube will be telling you about Parallels, their new multi-wave synthesizer. But let's say hello to a few of our guests. We've got 3 today. I'll start with you, Gaz, and then we'll come back to the star of the show. Not that you're not a star, obviously.
No.
How are you, Gaz? Gaz Williams, of course, music technologist, bass player, and many other things besides.
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I've something came yesterday, and it is interesting. This is interesting music tech info. Finally, the rip cord from
Oh gosh,
my vaults.
how many years?
It's been a few years, but check this out though. This is actually pretty cool. So, so I've got 2. I've got one which is a 9-volt, and I got one which is to 12 volts. So this is the.
All right, it just up.
It goes into a regular USB port.
Yeah.
Oops. And then here you've got
You get
the
a 12-volt output.
But look at this.
Ooh.
This is a ripcord
Adapter heaven.
Yeah, adapter heaven. But what it allows you to do, I was really impressed. I ran up here to try this out, and it worked. It's pretty. Watch this. Right. So you find the right one from there. You've also got one that flips the polarity around. Let me find the right one. Yeah, so this is cool because when you connect it up to things, you can power it from
Yes.
phone battery.
Excellent.
Yeah. So now 12 volts.
How long does it take to drain that
12
battery at 12 volts?
Well, the thing is, these batteries have got huge capacity, haven't they?
So we think a reasonable amount. Excellent.
Hang on, watch this. Proof of concept.
Is he taking his pants off?
Ready?
Ah,
Look
right.
at this.
Please make sure you got the polarity right.
Oh. Some power mine too. I've got them.
Turn the battery on.
That's really cool. Oh my God.
And so you can run it. I mean, I don't know how long it will run for, but you can run it for... I'll leave it on. I'll see how long it runs for.
I want to see the lights, Gaz. I don't believe you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there we go.
No,
All right.
see?
Yeah, okay. We have visual
Yeah,
proof.
I'll leave it running. I'll leave it
Confirmation.
running through the show. Look at that. Electron
Wow.
analog 4 running on a phone battery.
Wow.
That's pretty cool,
So,
isn't it? That was
that
worth
is-
the wait, wasn't it?
That was worth the wait. I'm gonna marriage
right,
this. So
Power.
I'll leave a pattern running on it as well.
oh, careful. All right.
I'll leave it playing.
All
Okay?
right, cool. So, Tara, you must be very excited at this news. And Math, Tara Bush here, I Speak Machine, live from LA at an ungodly time in the morning. You're both looking very fresh, I must say. I don't know what it is. Your juicing routine must be doing you well, and your kind of fancy LA superfoods. There we go. Look, green stuff. And Math Lewis, is that Strelka?
This is Strelka.
That's she's kind of the star of the show, really. Now, isn't it? Have you created a bit of a monster there?
I know.
Yeah.
And I was worried about what my hair was going to look like. It looks pretty nasty. Then I saw you and Gaz. And I'm like, I'm fine.
Yeah, my hair's fine as well. It's very neat.
What are you saying, man?
Jesus.
What are you saying?
I love you, Gaz.
You get people on and all they do is insult you, honestly. Right.
I tell you what, come on. Put it to the vote. My hair versus Math's hair. Come on.
Okay.
I've already voted for you before the vote started.
You
I'd
guys
be like-
just need to die.
Can we think of some sort of a Brexit term for a hair vote? I can't think what it is at the moment.
God.
No, let's not. Anyway, Tara Bush, there in LA, where you've started a very successful Patreon. You know, you've decided to go that route because I know in the past you've been touring, you've done the kind of records, you've sort of run the whole gamut of industry sort of strategies. So, and now you're focusing on Patreon. What led you to that inevitable path? I mean, what's the journey, Tara?
It was, well, we were always really curious. Well, it was curiosity, and really just sort of why not, because we are on a label. We're on Lex and out of the UK, and they've released 2 of our soundtracks. And previous to that, we were on Plastic Ray Gun, which was Math's label.
Tummy Touch.
And Tummy Touch. So we've done worked with quite a few indie labels, but this is different in that was our dog snorting. It's a bit different in that it's just more direct. I mean, there is the platform that you have to deal with, and of course Patreon takes a fee and stuff like that, but it's really interesting to have that kind of directness with fans, and it's really, really encouraging too, because we've met a lot of people through it. We actually really thought it was just going to be our moms signing up, and it was
which I hope you have as well, at least, right? Your mums have signed.
No.
Oh, it was in fact the opposite.
The amount of really big hints about it's people joining the Patreon. It's only $5. Or
But that's like asking for pocket money, isn't it? I mean, it's like asking for an allowance again. That's got to be. They're doing you good by not.
Yeah.
For some reason, my 85-year-old mother did not want the stems.
Yeah. My mom
tracks.
wasn't interested in a sample pack, but
she's such an asshole.
my dad maybe. I don't know. My mom, no.
Not so much.
We supported a few other people on Patreon before, and we'd liked the stuff that was going on it, because you get that very direct, very quick interaction with other creative people.
Yeah.
And we liked that. There was a total fear of we're going to do this, and other people had told us, I did a Patreon, and my buddy signed up for $1 or £1 or whatever, and that was I'm like, well, if that happens, so what?
Yeah.
I'm not going to not do something because it's probably going to fail, because let's face it, in the music industry, pretty much everything you do fails.
I mean, failure's a very common sense of emotion, isn't it? In as well as success. But I suppose the other thing that's quite interesting about this, I mean, you can kind of set your own agenda, and you've been actually quite ambitious. Which, I mean, I know, you know, we do a podcast every week and periodic reviews, but the podcast is set in stone, and that is, you know, that's quite a lot of work, and just the frequency of it. And you doing the same thing, you know, you've set all of these goals up. I think we've got your Patreon here actually somewhere where we can probably spin through them a little bit. So oh no, that's the wrong side.
You signed up, Nick? What level are you signed up on?
I'm signed up. I don't know. Yeah, 500,000 a month, I think, something like that. I'm trying to pay it off in installments in other fashion. But yeah, but the point is,
we have a payment program.
Yeah. So how are you finding? I mean, do you think you set the right? You know, did you started off ambitious, but then there comes a point where you think, oh crikey, that's a lot. So you're releasing a single every month, doing a cover every month, plus, you know, and that's going out as vinyl. You know, it's quite a lot of work, I'd imagine, right?
Yeah. Well, you have to be really, really quite organized. Well, here's the vinyl first of all.
That's the vinyl. So we have
clear vinyl.
Yes,
so
clear square
vinyl.
Ooh.
And they are called lathe cuts. So they're cut into acetate. So they're harder than vinyl, and they're cut individually and in real time. So it's kind of really.
Is it like 3D printing, sort of almost? Is that the sort of similar sort of thing that you could you 3D print your own signals? That'd be cool.
Yeah,
awesome. I'm not sure we can get the detail of that.
It's coming.
But yeah, so yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it's a different. I mean, you're not going to get the quality that you would get in a really deep, thick, you know, 12-inch, you know, 180 gram or 200 gram vinyl. But they're great and they're fantastic, and they're singly cut. They're literally cut in real time on a series of lathes that are, you know, cut, I think 10 at a time. So and they're great, and they've been very, very popular.
Yeah, just that the physical object, that satisfaction of holding a physical object,
a thing,
especially if it's vinyl, is you know, you have to have that sort of counterpart to all the digital elements.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, and I suppose that's part of the thing, isn't it, about doing the Patreon, because you can kind of design your own presence. You don't have to kind of go, well, I got to do 3 singles, then an album, then the tour, then back in the. You can work at your own pace, and is that part of one of the reasons as well, because you could set your own agenda, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one thing that I was really looking forward to, is just having some sort of framework that I know that I have. Well, I'm supposed to do it this way, but it doesn't always work out. But a few days to make a cover, and then because I'm also working on a solo record that's off of Patreon and a bunch of other projects, so this isn't something that I can spend all my time on. So I have to really be very organized and have a real proper schedule to get everything finished. And I'm also someone that, like a kindergartner, I need a really, really solid framework. I need limitations. So it's really helped me kind of get myself together in that sense, and just have a real schedule to work with.
But it's also that we're kind of better at doing weird little things, you know, for a smaller group of people. Like, I'd rather do something really odd that is not incredibly you know, money making, for want of a better word, to you know, a couple of hundred people than try and do the standard things that you know, labels want you to do. And this gives us that opportunity. Like, I mean, years back, I mean, we've been very lucky with labels. Years back with Tummy Touch in New York, we did I don't know whether you guys remember the pop-up stainless steel box set that we did with the little playable synths.
Yes, I think. Yeah.
It was quite a long time ago. But, I mean, to get a label to actually invest in, let's face it, a fairly minor act, to actually pay for a machine cut pop-up stage that then has little bits of electronic samplers and so forth you can put on it. And it is, I mean, that's just, they haven't, you know, they don't do that for Michael Jackson kind of thing. So it's so difficult to get people to invest in something crazy, whereas we can kind of do this now.
you can
Yeah.
you can be much more in charge of your own art and go, hey, I've got a great idea. I mean, I suppose the thing is you've already got the audience and they want what you're doing because they're paying their monthly fee or whatever. And then,
Yeah.
Yeah,
but I mean, but how do you, I mean, obviously, how does that grow? Because that's the hard thing. Because I remember when you first started, you were like, oh my God, you know what, like it might be just our parents and some close friends or whatever. I mean, obviously doing stuff like this is all part of the promotion,
Yeah.
but I mean, how do you actually, can you plan? I mean, can you plan a trajectory because it's so organic?
It is, and it changes a lot. We've only been going, you know, what is it?
January was when we first released
the end of
it.
January, last couple
Yeah.
of days of January.
Yeah.
And we've got just under one new person a day, which is
Oh, right.
fantastic. I'm on it genuinely, and I'm not trying to be modest here or whatever. I'm genuinely surprised that people will put money up directly to help artists. I mean, I think they should, and I do, but I think I think it's absolutely wonderful that people do that. So you know, we try and give them something really, really great, and both of us interact as much as we possibly can to the level that people want. You know, we've worked with people on one of the tiers is a collaborative tier.
Yeah.
We've worked with people with music and with film.
Well, a part of it
so-
is that, you know, what really attracted me to it was just being able to be very direct with people and very interactive with people. And yeah, and one of the tiers is that I can work with people on providing a lead vocal, maybe a little bit of writing, replaying stuff on synths here. And I've done, I think, 4 of those now. I've got 3 in the works. And it was actually just really encouraging just to kind of, you know, really directly talk to people and have them step up and want to be a part of it. It's just, I'm still kind of in shock about it.
So,
But
I mean, again,
I'm not trying to-
I guess also there's no reason why. I mean, you can expand the model almost to, because it's the same thing that's happening on Kickstarter. People launch a product and then they have tiers that are geared for almost licensing. So you could just go for X a month, then you get X number. So you could almost have distributors come in or sub labels come in and redo. Are you conscious of that sort of model as well? Because that's flipping it on its head a little bit, but just using it as the promotion platform, and then you can have somebody just dive in and say, you know, I know, like $500 a month gets you however many singles that you could then make a profit on, or some product that then somebody could resell or whatever. Have you thought about that stuff as well?
Yeah. There are a lot of really interesting things people have done previously. So what we've done is gone through a lot of other successful patrons and copied on some level the core concept and strategy that they've used, the ones we've liked, and then geared them towards us. And then obviously done some very original things that are just off the top of our head. But yeah, those are really great thoughts. And as we go on, the lucky thing about this is you can, you know, adapt the existing tiers to something slightly different. And
Right, so you
improve
can
them.
do that.
Yeah.
There's no
And
contractual.
yeah, it's really fluid. You know, if there's a few that we started that, you know, didn't quite stick that we've dropped, and then some that have really kicked off that we've added stuff to. Like originally, like I've added a song commentary to all of the songs. Like we have a studio video diary, and I just set up the camera and walk around the studio and talk shit basically while I'm recording and everything. And because basically as far as like my components to it, I put together stuff that I just would like to see other people do. I've always kind of been like that. Like, what would I love to see Zola Jesus doing? Which is
Right. Okay.
She was kind of the person that the artist that is on Patreon that I kind of inspired me to move on to Patreon too. She had a really, really cool Patreon, and I was like, oh yeah, cool, great. So, you know, adding a studio diary is something I wish you know, a lot of artists would do, because of course, you know, we all want to see how our favorite people create. So I was like, well, maybe people want to just watch me mess around in the studio. So
Yeah, I'm sure that's the
that.
case.
So we
Yeah.
had that. And so now with each single that we did, I think it was Sound of Silence, Ticket to Ride, Cars, War Pigs.
That's the
And then
Sabbath.
the next one, yeah. And the next one is Don't Worry Baby by the Beach Boys. And with each of those, I just go through the whole template, the whole Logic template, and then just walk around the studio and show everything that I used, how I did it, my thought process behind it. You know,
Oh,
how
right.
shitty I was
Well,
feeling that day, how great I was feeling that day. I don't know.
maybe what we could do is
quite personal.
maybe we can come back to a bit more sort of technical stuff as well. As I have to fulfil my contractual obligations just a second, so I'm just going to give you a little give our friends over at Softtubes a little bit of a props. 1 second, here they come. So this is the brand new parallel synth, soft synth from Softtube, with dual wave scanning source selections. And actually, a lot of the synths you're seeing here from this private collection, including a whole bunch of stuff that never got released, are the source wave samples. So there's a whole load of really original source material in here. High quality pre-recorded multi-waveforms, sonic progression with each waveform. So you've got quite a lot of tonal variety in each one. Up to 14 voices, 7 per voice when both sources are active. Hundreds of expertly created patches from synth artists, engineers, BT, Richard Devine, Inholt, loads more. 3 analog model filter types, state variable Vactrol, which is quite an unusual one, and resonant peaks, and 5 sophisticated modulation source, LFO random, Euclidean sequencer, step sequence. There's a whole bunch of stuff in here which is well worth checking out. And as we know, they're really good at doing the modular analog modeling in software. So as you know, it's going to be very quality stuff. So if you want to check that, go over to softtube.com. Right. Oh yes, we're coming back to Gaz for a quick update. Is it still running?
Yeah, so from the field, I can report that the analog 4 is still on and the sequencer is still running. And the good news is we're still on 4 lights on the battery.
So what's that? That's about 20. So that's half a set you could get out of that.
Yeah,
no
half
problem.
a set. Yeah. This is cool. I mean, this is, whoa.
That's neat.
Yeah.
I wonder if it could power speakers and stuff that has a higher ampage and whatnot. Okay, right. I'm going to come back to you, Tara. So you're technically, we were going to have a performance today, but the technical challenge was quite technically overwhelming. So we're not going to have that this time. Maybe we can work something out another time. But tell me about what have you felt that the creative freedom has allowed you to explore other instruments? Because I know famously you've got your what synths have you got, by the way? Because I lose track. I keep seeing lovely pictures of vintage stuff, and I don't know what you currently are. What are you currently packing?
I've what am I packing? I've definitely slid into the vintage zone.
Oh, 2600.
Yeah, and actually Nick Montoya, who is the world's greatest synth tech known to man, he worked with Moog. I think he still does work with Moog, but Nick Montoya has my 1613 sequencer that he just fixed in a half a second. The man's a genius. And he's bringing that back to me today. So usually I have my sequencer, which is what I used on War Pigs. So War Pigs is all mostly ARP 2600 and Oberheim 2 voice, which is over there.
Oh yeah, you can't beat those.
And the thing is, I was really happy about using the 2600 on War Pigs because it always brings to mind this really great video of Ozzy using the 2600 and cursing at it. Like, I'm not going to try to do his accent because it would be very offensive, but
it's brilliant.
He's like, if you search it on YouTube, it's really funny.
It's definitely worth searching Ozzy Osbourne ARP 2600.
Yeah, it's like late 70s and he's trying to use it and it's really funny.
It's just classic Ozzy, which is wonderful.
Because I mean with the covers, basically a lot of them happen from me just switching on the machines and running them and messing around with them and then singing something over it and it works. And that happened to be War Pigs.
So are you doing? Just a question on how are you attempting to do the stuff as live as possible, or are you multi-tracking and doing a more considered kind of multi? I mean, how do you tend to create when using those electronics?
Kind of a combination of both. The first 3, Sound of Silence, Ticket to Ride, and Cars were all actually born out of me practicing my live set.
Right.
So those are all very, transferable to a live setting, but the next 2, well, we'll see what happens. War Pigs and Don't Worry Baby are both a bit more dense.
Right. Okay.
Big.
So you've started to get stuck in, right?
I know I can't help myself, but I think that I can reel it in to where I can do a live version of it. We actually did a live studio session for the patrons about a month and a half ago, where I did a version of War Pigs where it was just me and the synth and the little bastard mic, which is nice.
Oh, what's
right?
that? Oh, well, that looks like a piece of conduit.
Yeah,
It is.
it's this bespoke mic that a fellow called Owen sent to me, and it's the BM88, and it sounds really cool. It's like this really lo-fi, crunchy, gnarly thing, and it's really fun to sing into, of course. So, so it's just me and that, and some effects. And so, yeah, you know, I try to kind of keep a live format in mind when I'm making this stuff, but it sort of spirals into craziness usually.
I suppose taking that further, I mean, you know, because obviously probably last saw a lot of your activity on social media was when you were doing the Gary Newman tour. You were doing a lot of gigs there. Are you thinking about taking things back out on the road? Because I mean, I guess that would be a great way to build Patreon stuff, or is that kind of one of the reasons you're doing this? I mean,
yeah, I love playing live more than anything. You know, I love being in the studio. I love creating, but you know, I started out as a singer in a rock band. You know, I've been playing since I was 16. Was when I actually had my first proper band, and you know, I always missed that kind of energy. So we're definitely wanting to put together something live that, you know, go on the road for a million years. That actually really appeals to me.
well, I suppose the thing is if you're doing
Sorry,
these monthly covers, you're sort of building a repertoire as you go anyway. So there comes a point where you got, well, I got 12 songs plus any of my other stuff that, you know, has happened between the. So I guess that discipline means that you've got the material, right?
Yeah, and that, and then my original stuff as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a full plate. But as I said, you know, you just have to be really, really organized, which is not in my factory settings. So it's been really, I'm not an organized person as far as creating at all. I'm just really all over the place. So it's really forced me to get my shit together.
Yeah, it's quite it can, yeah, that kind of trying to corral creativity into fixed time slots is a really difficult transition. I mean, people do it, you know. I mean, when it becomes a job, it's a tricky thing. Gaz, we haven't heard from you for a bit, so I'm just what have you? Because you famously, I mean, you were the person. Well, Tara was the person that introduced us. So there's this kind of connection between, and you've worked with Tara in the studio in the past as well, right?
Yeah, little bits and bobs over the years. I mean, we go back almost like 20 years, really, I think, which is kind of cool to our time when we both used to live in Cardiff in Wales.
Yeah, Rocket Gold Star. I remember going to see Rocket Gold Star with Math, and it just absolutely blew my head open. You guys were so good.
Genuinely one of my favorite shows. I think
greatest bass player.
I think it was Rocket Gold Star with Thighpole Sandra. Maybe?
Yes.
No.
He was. Sandra was playing with us, I think, on that gig. I think the one you're talking about.
Yeah, that's right. And you guys, and I'm so sorry, I can't. What were the Sean and then
Frank,
the keyboard player? Frank. Sorry, I'm sorry, Frank.
Yeah.
And I remember at the end of the show, Frank's keyboard stand collapsed. And he just fell to his knees and kept playing.
That's right. It
was one of my favorite shows, and I genuinely mean one of my favorite shows of any size act. I'm talking about having seen Bowie and Sabbath and blah 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 blah. Generally one of my favorite shows, and as you know, I keep telling you this, you're my favorite bass player of all time.
Oh, guys, you guys.
I love it.
We should probably broaden it out a little bit beyond our little club here, but yeah. Look, I think you might be blushing. Awesome. So, I mean, one of the things, actually, I could introduce a topic here, which is kind of interesting. This just came up, actually. This was I got this literally before the show. No, that's not what I want to do at all. This is basically a guy called Zero Punk has released an album of Timberwolf, just made with Timberwolf, which is the famed Akai. And it's this one here, actually, that he sent. And it's quite nice. I mean, it's very reverb heavy and whatnot, but It's actually, it's one of those things that kind of does the. Have I got a volume? I haven't got volume control on this one, it seems. Oh, there we go. I'll turn that down a bit. So 8 tracks, all done on the Timberwolf, and it's because the Timberwolf was famously, it's now discontinued. It's famously kind of one of those things that was released and sort of didn't really work out for a variety of reasons. But obviously, it's not a bad or unusable instrument. It's just at the time it didn't really fit with what people were after. A little analog 4-voice. So I'm wondering about, you were talking a little bit about limitation. Well, Gaz, first of all, have you played a Timberwolf?
Yes, I have. Yeah, it was remarkably terrible, I have to say.
Right.
Very few things come out that are truly terrible. So that's what's really lovely about this album. Even though it's terrible by expectation, really. And you're right.
The album isn't. The album isn't terrible, but the Timberwolf. Yeah,
no,
we should add.
The album's nice. I had a little listen, and it's nice. He just used a Zoom CDR 70 pedal as well. So it's just those are the only items that he used. And it's cool. And so I'm picking on the sort of Timberwolf a little, but that was a case of, I think it's a kind of watermark in time. Like we had this kind of real desire for analog, and then finally, in the last sort of 5 years, we've been really well catered for analog again. So much so that it's super affordable again, and it's fantastic. But I think that product marks that sort of point where actually just analog it doesn't
isn't
necessarily mean it's better. And now we've kind of evolved past that point now, haven't we? And like things like the Arturia, the Microfreak and
Minilog XD, all of that stuff.
The Minilog XD using digital and analog.
Delta set.
Kind of, so I think the little Timberwolf has probably served a useful kind of purpose there.
It's a punctuation. It's like a should we say a colon or a semicolon, perhaps? Yeah.
Colon. I can't be a colon.
So, Tara, this actually did lead me to have a topic that could, So, are there instruments that you've bought that you've really wanted, and then when you got it, you just didn't connect with it, or it didn't really kind of work out at all, and you've either jettisoned it or left it in the cupboard?
Careful.
I know, I gotta be careful. There is one, and I probably shouldn't say.
Okay.
There's well, let's see, what don't I have anymore? What did I sell? You know what? Oh my God, I gotta say, I did not get on with the 303.
Right. Yeah. Fair enough.
Not. It was a bit too. I had this sort of idea that I was like, yeah, I'm going to do something really unique with it, and blah, blah. I just couldn't get my head around it. And then I got distracted because that was around the same time I got my ARP. I was like, and I just got drawn to something else, and I didn't have the motivation to dig into it, which is a really, really snotty, luxurious distraction. Is I have my ARP, so I didn't want to get into. I mean, give me a break, but still, it was like,
I know what you mean about the 303. Yeah.
I didn't click with it, and I have to have that real romantic element with the instruments that I play, and it just didn't get it for me. That was definitely one thing.
I couldn't get that. It's almost like with the 303, you need someone to program it for you, and then you can change. You just do the notes. So someone comes up with the notes, and because they're two totally different processes,
aren't they? I feel a lot better now. I could not program that thing to save my life.
No, I hated it. I'm not a step guy.
Tutorial.
So, by the same token, what instrument would you, or have you created a complete track with? That you feel you could just do the whole. You were talking. You use the ARP pretty much on was it War Pigs, but.
Yeah. But I did use a bunch of other stuff on that. But probably I would say the ARP is something that I would probably want to use that on only. Also, the Pro One is also still, that was my first and favorite synth. I'm looking up there because that's where it is. But but the ARP is really great because I think that you can do some incredible drum sounds on it. It's I've only scratched the surface on how deeply you can. Have you
used it for processing your vocal, because it's got that little spring reverb in it as well, which is I know Golfrap, for instance, use the springs quite a lot for processing stuff. Oops,
Yeah,
wrong
I
button.
haven't done that yet. I've used my MS-20 for processing vocal a lot.
Ah,
I
yeah.
did. I used it to sing a bass line, and I've never heard anything
Is
like
that
it
pitch to
anyway.
using pitch to voltage on that? Is that what you're using? So it's
The
tracking.
external signal processor, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
so, and that was really fun because it's if you've ever used it, it's just really unpredictable and a little bit all over the place. But yeah, yeah, very, very cool. So, but yeah, I think the ARP would be the one that I would probably just make the rule and stick to that one and see if I could do the whole song with it. So
Okay. Cool.
yeah.
Gaz, I'm going to come back to you in a minute. We've
Yeah.
just got to have our little message from not Softube, from Isotope, and then we've got to announce the prize winner for RX7. So here we go.
RX continues to be the industry standard and leader in audio repair for music and post-production. And with RX7, we've introduced groundbreaking new ways to quickly and easily fix and manipulate audio. Take the game-changing Repair Assistant, an intelligent helper that can detect noise, clipping, clicks, hum, and more. Also new in RX7 is Music Rebalance, a powerful source separation tool. Drums too loud? Vocals not loud enough? Let's fix that. You can also create instrumental versions of songs by removing the vocal elements. You can now alter the pitch without affecting the timing of your audio, and conversely, alter the time without affecting the pitch with the new variable time and variable pitch modules. Using the new dialogue contour, you can improve the performance of a line or even create a new performance by altering the pitch contour of the dialogue, therefore adjusting the intonation of the speaker, and introducing Dialogue Dereverb, a module powered by machine learning to reduce the presence of reverberations around dialogue. RX7, a new frontier in audio repair.
And of course, you can download a full working demo of RX7, which is a fantastic suite of plugins at isotope.com. And we had a competition last week. We were asking for, I think, Reverb Remover, which was sort of totaled last time because last week was Carolina Ike, which was pre-recorded. And I think, it was because they just bought the Reverb. And we've got a winner this week, and it's Laura Reynolds, who is LR Reynolds Music, and she won. And she says, "Pick me," and we kind of did, even though it's a random process. So congratulations, Laura. If you want to get in touch and let us know how Isotope can give you RX7. And of course, we've got another competition for this week. This week we're looking for the hashtag. Now, this is a bit longer than usual. Audio Repair Standard. That's one word as a hashtag, and the hashtag RX7 to @Sonicstate and @Isotope Inc. That's on Twitter. You just need to tweet the hashtag Audio Repair Standard and the hashtag RX7 to @Sonicstate and @Isotope Inc. And if there's any spare characters, you can fill them up with any kind of anything you prefer there. Gaz is holding up the Endless.
This is the Sonicstate Jam.
Oh, how's it sounding?
Since we only went live yesterday with the Endless feature, and look how many.
You've lost it. It's crashed. No, it hasn't.
It might have, because it's absolutely, there's hundreds and hundreds of jams in there now. So I should have mentioned that Endless is the new Tim Exile app. We've just shot a piece that's up on Sonic where I demonstrate it in a real-time jam situation with Tim Exile and with Mylar Melodies as well. But we've also launched the Sonicstate Jam. Now, the software is only in beta, so it's my phone's memory is full, that's why it crashed. But it's only in beta at the moment, Endless, but this jam is open for viewers of Sonicstate. So the link is in the YouTube show notes.
Yeah, it will be.
But what Endless does is it's like this completely sort of regenerate. It's a jamming tool. You can connect. At the moment it's only on iPhone, so I do have to say that iOS rather, but suitable for the iPhone. But it allows you just to instantly be part of a big jam session. So what was really fantastic to see, that the Sonicstate Jam has really taken off, and there's literally hundreds of contributions to it already. I say it only went that 24 hours, just over 24 hours ago.
All right. That's the thing I quite liked about it, because if you've not tried, you can just sort of be noodling away on a little sketch, self-contained, and then you could just go, hey, check this out, and it will go to another contact, and they can sort of be asked to contribute. So it's sort of like, that's the thing I quite like about it. Unless, of course, you might be doing something more important than tinkering with your riff,
Well,
obviously, which does happen in life.
Any of the loops can be up to eight layers, and at any point in time, you can just press the export button, and you can export out those loops, so you can bring them into whatever you wanted to then. But with this open jam, like the one, the Sonic jam, I mean, there's literally hundreds and hundreds.
Well, I'll have to check it out. I haven't got an iPhone, so I can't actually, I can't try it.
I know, it's a bit of a shame. They do say Android is coming.
That'll be a challenge. That's going to be a challenge. But I guess with the thing is, with the looping stuff, you can get over latency because it's got a whole loop and a buffering. Which
Can
actually,
I say one thing, Nick?
oh yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say, there is the thing about the retrospective looper that's in Endless that really should be a more widely adopted means of doing things.
So it's always recording and you just say stop.
It's always recording.
Right.
Yeah. And the clever thing with the 4 little spaces, you can tap in the 4 spaces. You can tap and it'll just replay what the last bar was. You can tap the next one, it'll play back what the last 2 bars were, the last 4 bars or the last 8 bars. And actually, it's a lot easier. It's always in time. Not having to sort of cue it in and cue it out. Just go, that was a good one, bang.
Right.
It's a cool way of doing stuff.
So Tara, that I guess the musical sketchpad. I mean, because presumably you creativity strikes at the most inopportune moments and the various when you're not perhaps in front of your studio. But what's your flow? I mean, how does it work for you? Because you can sing, obviously, highly accomplished vocalist, so you can vocalize an idea very quickly. You don't have to necessarily be in front. So what do you use to get that sort of stuff down? How do you capture it? And then, where does it go from there?
My iPhone recorder, it's actually almost, it's almost full. I have, and the best thing is the titles. Some of these are pretty good. I haven't quite, I like the one that's Strelka Sample Pack. I don't know why that's on there. It's my dog.
Yeah.
But, yeah, just like, Storm Foil Bendy Metal. I'm not quite sure what that is. Bossa Bang 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 for voices in C.
You should play some.
There's another one called Here We Sob.
Play one.
Wow.
I'm going to try and get it to play one.
Ruin Break Blisters. Do you want to hear Ruin Break Blisters?
Yeah, go on then. If you hold it right up to the speaker, because we...
Oh God, I don't know what this is.
You can preview
crazy.
it. This is like bingo or roulette.
All right. Whoops. Oh shit! Wait, I didn't mean to do that. Hang on. I just lost it. I hit record by accident.
Easily done.
Because I'm nervous. Wait.
It's got to be worth the wait.
Oh, it has to be. Yeah.
Maybe a break. Ooh, you give me blisters at sunset.
Ah,
Sunset.
that's an
I'm
interesting
walking down,
lyrical
right.
idea as well. Blisters at sunset, because it's so hot, even at sunset. Yeah, I'm with you.
Because also what I like to do, so I don't look completely insane walking down the road, I just pretend like I'm on the phone.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, "Ooh."
Just singing.
So, but yeah,
into
a
the
lot of
phone.
those are me walking down the street singing into my phone.
Because that's a lot less
So-
weird than just singing, right?
Of course. Well, it is LA. You can just, go down the sidewalk in a dirty Spider-Man costume and roller skates and nobody will care. So,
Yeah, why ever not?
but-
So, I can't remember what's your cut-off time, because I remember you've got to get out of here. How long have you got? So I'm just figuring if there's any other questions I can.
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm good.
Okay.
I've got like an hour.
Can I just jump back to this, Nick? Because
go
there's over 345 people in this jam session.
Chaos.
Come on. That's amazing, isn't it?
That's pretty impressive.
Like 3. I've had to wipe a load of videos on my phone so I could. But look how many. Look at how many of them there are. These are all like contributions to the
pick
Sonicstate jam.
pick one at random. We want to hear it. Pick one at random. We want to hear it.
All right.
All right, put your money where your mouth is.
Why would it play?
because your phone's full. Because there's so many sessions in there.
crashed.
Oh,
I
that's
think the jam is too
it's
massive.
too big.
Oh,
The jam is too
hang on, one
massive.
moment as
Okay,
well, Nick, one moment.
hold on.
Look,
Still going.
it's still running.
Nice distraction.
And there is 4. There's still
Hit the
4 of the little LED lights
Nice.
lit. So, and the sequence is still running. Um,
But it won't play.
Right.
I at the moment the show title is "The Jam Is Too Massive," so that's
it's a massive jam. I mean, that is a lot. 343.
well. Why do you? I tell you what.
345 people.
If you could get one playing, then when you're ready, hold it up. If it will play, because it's probably got to download a load of stuff. So Tara, what's next for you? I mean, do you? This presumably is quite an inspiring process, you know, because as we know, creativity in music is a lot about ego, and I mean that with a small e. You know, it's like it's affirmation of your own creative ideas and feeling that, you know, because we all suffer from imposter syndrome, and you know, in creative arts all the time. Yeah. So this must be quite emboldening and enlightening in that sense. I mean, has it kind of given you pause to think about, okay, well, if I can do this now, I can do something else? Have you got bigger plans, grander plans?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, I guess with everything, it does give you just one more reference point, a little more reassurance. And, you know, I guess all creative people need a little bit of reassurance. Otherwise, you know,
a little bit.
You need some feedback, a little reassurance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good, you know. But yeah, so it's made me feel more confident as far as playing live. Just even feel like I have a right to be up there playing synths and singing. Singing's never really been that big of a deal. I've been doing it since I was a little kid, and it's always been pretty easy for me. But the difficult thing has been incorporating technology into what I do. And like when I first met Maff, I was just a singer. And then
this is your fault.
The band yeah, it's his fault. He was like, I think you should get this. But so it's been, you know, a slow build over the years, getting more confident to even just write and perform. And I mean, I think for a long time I really suffered, and I still do, from imposter syndrome quite a bit, just being up there and kind of visualizing, especially because I guess a lot of, if you are into electronic music and you play that and you use machines to create, you always in your head think, oh my God, these people think I don't know what I'm doing, and they all know what they're doing. They are just these really accomplished geniuses, and I'm up here and I don't know what I'm doing. You know, you just start to spiral. And I think kind of, especially during the Gary Newman tour, I just had a few shows where I was playing up there and I was like, all right, you're either going to really, really care about what everybody thinks, and it's probably not even what's happening at all. It's all in your head. And I decided just to delegate what I was going to care about, like right there on stage. I was like, all right, I can't care about this anymore. This is killing me. I want to enjoy this. So it was just kind of like I flipped a switch and I didn't give any more fucks about that anymore.
Right.
I just
that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I think
it was either going to sink me or.
I think because I think ultimately the thing about it is you know, there are loads and loads and loads of people who are really into the technology but can't make any music worth a damn. You know, that's not why they're doing it necessarily. And they've all got opinions. And I know both you and Maff are really kind of like, but you're also very vocal and, you know, quite not confrontational, but you'll challenge people who are sort of, it's the mansplaining thing and the kind of the way that women are treated in this industry as not necessarily, you know, having whatever any value. It's the same across the whole strata of society, not just in music. So I mean, I think that's quite important. But I think also the thing is, when you are performing live, you kind of need to be on top of the stuff, because if it goes wrong, you've got to kind of you've got to wing it, haven't you? You've got to be able to kind of okay, I'll do this instead.
Straighten up the plane. You've got to be a good pilot, you know. And so it's. I think especially doing those Newman shows really, really helped me to either sink or swim. And also luckily Gary and the crew and everybody, they were just incredible people. They're just so nurturing, and just having, you know, someone like Gary Newman tell you that you have your shit together and he's a fan of what you do. It can make you feel pretty
That'll
good,
help.
because he's awesome.
Yeah.
But it's not, I don't mean to sound braggy, but it was just something that really kind of helped me get on with it. You
Yeah,
know?
we were amazed at how great they were.
Nice.
Because, you know, famously when you're a support act, you know,
Yeah.
the standard is you get treated like shit, and we've been treated like shit in the past, you know, given 3 minutes to sound check, or I'm sorry, there's no sound check, that kind of shit. And Gary always got off stage and planned a big amount of time for us to sound check, and would move literally would stop his own situation to give us time.
Oh,
and that
brilliant.
was absolutely amazing. And actually recently with
he
our
was awesome. Oh my
our
God.
buddies Kendra and Aisha that kite bass that toured with Nine Inch Nails,
Yeah.
they had the same experience with Trent, who made sure that there was time for them to get on stage and sound check properly, and argued for them with the venues for this. Didn't flounce off in a artistic huff, you know, not caring. So in our experience to Gary, amazing props to him about how continually kind he was, and understanding artistically he was.
It was also, I mean, he treated it like, because Gary's really straightforward. He's not like, doesn't sugarcoat anything, and he's very, very, very cool guy, but he's really straight. And he's just like, why don't you feel good up there? You know, just get on with it. You deserve to be up there. What are you doing? It's fine. And then he'd be like, and then for, and his wife Gemma, she's like, you've gotten a lot more confident. It's really good to see that, because you should be, you know, why aren't you? And it was more matter of fact instead of being like, oh, you poor little thing. They were just like, just do it. Come on. You know, and which is great, you know. And I just remember in sound checks, you know, Gary would be like, all right, I'm sorry we're going 5 minutes over, but you guys are going to have everything you need, that kind of thing. So, you know, it's nice. It was just, it's really confidence building, just to kind of go back to your original question of just kind of, I guess, growing in all of this, I suppose, is there's just certain things that have really helped push me up a level and just get me
absolutely. I mean, well, once you've got enough of it under your, once you've done it enough times, I mean, I always say this, it takes a number of years to get to the point when even on a bad day, that's still good enough, or it's good enough. You know, when it's really rocking, then, you know, great, everybody feels good, but you want to sort of be able to know that you can do, you know, at a bare minute. I think just breaking, I think Gaz has got something to add here.
Yes, I'm coming from the field with the Sonic Jam after a phone restart. This is beta software as well. This is submitted by Monistan404.
Cool.
He's the best.
Ufont 1 or Ufont Un.
Here they come. So there's a lot of stuff there. We obviously can't go through all of them because we'd be here all night.
There's hundreds. Let's see where. I'll tell you what. Let's go to where the jam currently is. The most. So Jareed has just dropped some beats.
Right.
That's come in like in the last sort of few minutes.
God, I can imagine you can fill your phone up with loads of kind of loops and stuff like that. So you need to get more RAM.
No, I think that is what's taking the space. It's not that. That's all on a cloud. I think that's streaming as it plays. But you can know at any point jump to any one of those jams, any one at all. Go back, remix it, drop out some elements, add some elements, submit that into the jam, and on it goes. It's called Endless for good reason.
Right. But,
So just carrying on with the field report. This is going great guns. I mean, it's still running.
So we've had, that's probably about 50 minutes. 4 bars.
4 lights still on. It's sort of, everything is functioning. All the buttons are pressing.
Gaz.
The sequence is running. And everything's cool as well.
Hold on. Math has a question.
if you get pulled over by the police for speeding, just pull that out and start doing that at him, and it's the best distraction ever.
They'll back off.
Good
Yeah.
reason. There was good reason.
They might actually send a different team in to deal with the issue once you've waved that around a bit. So you might not.
I have to say, though,
I wouldn't try that in LA.
Yeah, it's true. One of the things with electron boxes, in particular, electron boxes are fantastic for plugging a set of headphones in and just getting lost in the amazing sequencer. And I've taken that out many a time into the garden with an extension cable to run the power out into the garden to sit there noodling. But actually, being able to run it off batteries now, I think is super cool. I'm going to be sitting in my deck chair making weird and wonderful noises on that. So
Okay, well,
so I think that is cool. So that's sorry, this is
My Volts, isn't it?
Just showing you what it is. Ripcord, and it's made by a company called My Volts.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
MyVolts.com.
Well, yeah. So, which brings me back to, so Tara, you've got a lot of analog stuff there. Did you say you've got some electron stuff as well?
I have an analog rhythm.
Ah, okay. So, is there a criteria for acquiring a new instrument? Because it feels like, obviously, I don't know how long you've had a lot of this stuff, but what do you have a kind of? Is there like an airlock procedure when you get something in? You kind of spend a bit of time messing with it, and then it gets incorporated, or do you just kind of go straight in?
Well, I definitely am a manual type of girl. I'm not, as silly as it sounds, and I know I actually always say this, is I am not someone that is technically inclined at all. So it takes me, a little bit more tenacity and determination to really dig into something, especially like this, because it's a lot of menu diving, and I'm really impatient, which is why I love the 808. So it's just like boop boop doo 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 doo. And this, I've had this a little while, and I don't feel like I've really scratched the surface of it. I always have to have a cheat sheet up when I play it. And I think with this guy, I think you have to spend a lot of time with it and really carve it into your memory how it works.
Yeah, absolutely. The muscle memory, right.
So, and which I haven't really done a lot of yet, even though it's a wonderful sounding box. I've had a lot of frustration with it as far as loading my own samples into it and stuff like that. I just find it to be really fiddly, but it sounds great, which is why I haven't given up on it. I love how this box sounds, but I just find it a little bit difficult to dig into. But criteria, I think it's just, sometimes it's, something I'm working on that will pull me towards something. Like there's an animated series that Meph and I have been working on that I think really inspired me to go after. I mean, I've always wanted an ARP 2600, but I really wanted something that had like a radiophonic workshop sound to it. And the ARP 2600 is kind of very much like that. And I'm also working on, Maff's working on a bunch of screenplays and films and TV shows, writing with his writing partner. And not to step too far aside, but they give me a synopsis and scripts, and I come up with ideas according to those. And there's one that's kind of a really dark, bleak, I don't know how far I can go into it, but a really dark, bleak kind of old school BBC novel. That one.
Yeah.
How would you describe that? It's just really, really creepy and.
Oh, so that suggests what equipment you might need.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. So what Tara's talking about has been described as Broadchurch meets Twin Peaks.
Yeah. So that's what he's writing right now.
But
so.
when we're pitching this, we pitch it with music and sounds.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people don't. So we have the luck of being able to walk into a pitch meeting at Netflix or something like that. And with, obviously the usual stuff, scripts and treatments and synopses and storyboards, etc. And then also to bring out some music and talk about where this is and how it goes and how important it is. Because the music has always been, in creativity, I've always seen this crossover of, or the dividing line between things like film and writing and music. Everyone divides them up so much. And I kind of understand that. They started doing it in universities, where you had your art class and then your You're drawing and then you're sculpting and then your music and then blah, blah, blah. And it never used to be like that. So we try and bring Tara's music in at a really, really early stage. And it also inspires us.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's
often,
kind of a cyclical feeding each other sort of.
Yeah, often we'll write a scene very much based on the feel of the scene and the pace of the scene, very much based on Tara's music.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Sometimes what he writes, I'll be like, I think we were working on, like when we were doing Zombies 1985, and that's a while ago now. I really wanted a big Oberheim polysynth, so we looked and waited, to have the funds because they are not cheap. But yeah, and I got my hands on an OB8, and it just kind of is having a little bit of foresight as far as what I feel like I'm going to need for a certain project, or I don't know, or I just come across something and it looks really cool, and if I can happen to afford it at the time.
Okay, here's a question for you. This is going to be slightly random. What is the script synopsis that would suggest a DX7?
Oh, funny you say that. So there's another. There's a friend of mine that I was working with. There's a spoof 80s animated series that he made.
It actually is in that.
And
I forgot.
And it was, and I had I didn't have a DX7 at the time, so I had to use a plugin. But yeah, that sort of thing. So it was Miami Vice-esque kind of.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got
super hyper masculine kind of,
retro 80s comedy.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
sort of self-aware.
So there is. Oh, that's good.
That actually does exist.
He-Man,
Excellent.
But,
brilliant.
He-Man probably a little old for that, but yeah, that sort of thing. Because I know, I don't know, I still see a lot of comedy in the DX7, even though I know it's capable of some cool shit. I've never had one, so I don't know. I really don't.
They do sound fantastic, I have to say, and I do want to get one because I remember the keyboard being really nice as well, but it needs an editor. Matt, you sound like you need a glass of water, mate.
I'm going.
Oh, here it goes. Everything's kicking off. Oh, it's another jam. Okay. Oh, that's nice.
Been about another 15 jams posted since the last time we looked.
Right. We've got Bob Fleming in the building, and
it's crazy. I mean, wow.
Sorry about that.
Excellent.
So yeah.
Oh, look, for a treat, here we go. For a special treat, there's a picture of me trying to talk you through the tech on your phone while we're trying to detect your audio system, because the plan was, and unfortunately we were going to get Tara was going to perform a couple of tunes, but it's actually, it sounds really simple, but to get a line in and to have the video conferencing, it's quite complicated audio routing, and we just ran out of time, so it's a shame.
Yeah.
But you'll be doing it on Patreon, right?
I will. We will be doing more live shows on there, so it's a special treat for our patrons.
Absolutely. Well, I could suggest a couple of technological tweaks that will help you be able to get the most out of that.
Please do.
Okay. Well, it feels like we're kind of drawing. I know you've got to get off, and it feels like it's sort of naturally drawing to a close. I did want to point one other thing out. There is we are. I did mention this. We're involved in the promotion of this. Apparat is playing at Bath Festival, and you can get tickets there. He's playing, and so is Cenk actually from Electron. Dataline, Mr. Dataline is also playing. It's a double bill, and we help bring those together. And if you want to get tickets, I'll just give you the. We've got a Bitly URL, which actually is just Bitly/Apparat. That's APPARAT-Bath. Apparat-Bath, Bitly/Apparat-Bath will take you straight to the tickets thing. So if you go there, it'd be great. There, it's quite an intimate gig. It's about 700-seater. It's a standing, I think. It's a bar. It's in Comedia in Bath on the 20.
Oh, that's nice.
What is it? What does it say? It says it's the 20. Oh, it doesn't say on there, does it? That's not so good. Where is it? The event is. I don't know what the date is. That's pretty. 26th. The 26th. There we go. 26th of September of May.
I saw
this year.
Dataline doing a set in the after show at Super Booth last year.
Oh, he's brilliant.
And he's so brilliant. I mean, because he just builds everything in the moment. I mean, we've seen many of his videos, so we kind of see behind the scenes of how he does this. But the way he can just
Absolutely.
completely morph and move everything that's a masterclass.
Actually, Tara, sorry, I was going to say, Tara, it might be worth, if you're not quite connecting with the rhythm, it might be worth trying a dig attack, because they are more immediate and very much quicker to sample into. It's a lot easier to get your head into the dig attack, which is Electron as well, and it sounds really good if that's what your kind of thing is.
Yeah, that's really been what my biggest hurdle has been with that, is being able to load my own sounds. And you know, I mean, the presets are great, but I'm not really a big fan of just using presets.
Sure.
I mean,
there's a new app. There is a new piece of software, isn't there, since the Overbridge 2.0, which gives you a much better sample transferring. I'll just kind of open it up here.
Oh yeah, if you've got Overbridge, you can run it on your computer. That means you get a much more fulsome GUI, and you can do it all on the computer screen rather than through that little window. So it's worth checking out.
Yeah, it makes a massive difference. It really does.
Okay. I know the Overbridge thing. I just
But the new I'm just getting this. I'm just opening the thing up just to have a look at it. The analog, you can load in samples a lot easier with this other app now.
Does it work on a rhythm, or does it have to be a rhythm 2?
I think it works on the rhythm 1 as well, and it's called the transfer. It's called transfer. I used to have to use a thing called C6, I think, but it was much more fiddly. So it's a lot better. That's a lot better now.
Okay. Well, there we go. Top tip. Well, I think we'll probably bring things to a close. Thank you, Tara and Matt, for joining us. We will definitely do this again when we've got your streaming line stuff together.
Awesome. So I can show you my juggling then, and my mime.
Yeah, that would be great. Only if you wear stripy trousers, of course, and a waistcoat.
I have. Or some trousers. And remember that you can support Tara at her patreon.com/ispeakmachine.
Yeah, and there's links to that on just ispeakmachine.com, I presume, as well. Oh no, there aren't.
Yeah,
probably.
There should be.
And on the Patreon page itself, there's song clips, so you can actually hear the songs that we're putting out. They're also on my SoundCloud, but if you go to the Patreon, I've got the SoundCloud links embedded there. War Pigs should be up there too. That's probably my favorite so far, because I get to sing in a really aggressive, shreddy kind of way that I haven't done in a long time.
Well, let's have a look. I'm loading SoundCloud. See what we got here. War Pigs. Oh, sneak peek. All right, we can have that. Okay.
Sure.
My God, that bass is absolutely massive. That's a treat. Okay, well there you go. There's a teaser. That's well worth doing. Okay, folks. Well, Tara and Math, thank you so much for joining us. We will be back next week. It's always a pleasure to have you on. It always seems to be far too big a gap between every time, so we'll have to increase that frequency a little more and do something.
Let's get on next week then.
Yeah, only if you sort your technical stuff out first, right? I'll give it a little bit longer. I think we need longer than a week. That's all right. Okay, before we go, I want to say, if you want to enter the competition to win Isotope RX7, we're looking for the hashtag Audio Repair Standard and the hashtag RX7 to @Sonicstate and Isotope Inc. That's on Twitter. And so thanks also to Softube for supporting. Do check out their parallel synth. So Gaz, yes, thank you. So there's still you've got both there. Your analog 4 is still working.
It's still working. I'm still showing on four dots as well.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
So that's run the whole set. And since I think the jam has gone to at least another 20, 30 kind of iterations.
Good grief.
Jam it. So to get on the jam, some people have been wondering, if you just go to the Sonicstate, the YouTube channel, and look for the review of Endless,
There's
the
a
show
link in
notes
that,
is the link.
I'll put it in the show notes as well. I'll try and remember to do that at least.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, well, that's it. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. We'll do our... Oh, look, there's two of me now because I've got my previous... We'll see you all next time. This is where we all wave into the sunset. That was Sonic Talk 573. Thank you very much. See you all later. Bye-bye now.